live. No, we're live now. Cool. So I'll give it another minute. We'll let our awesome teams come on. Yes, I'm really pumped for this year. It's going to be a good year. All right. Okay, welcome to our team lit up Scentsy World Tour wrap up for 2016. We're so excited to have you guys here joining us tonight, and we're trying a little something different. We've got a couple of us here. So we've got Waina Witana from Sydney joining us live, and we also have Sandra from a couple streets away joining us live, and then we've got Andrew in the kitchen that's joining us live too. So we're just going to have a quick chat about some of our highlights and top tips and takeaways that we got from our tour. And so we were all at different locations. So I think there's about 3 locations between the 4 of us that we attended, and each location shared different tips and tricks and takeaways. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. So it's going to be quick, fun, easy. You might want to have a pen and piece of paper to write down some notes, as well as we share some things that you can use in your business today and start doing something today as well. Okay, so we're going to follow exactly how World Tour was scheduled, and we're going to dive straight into it, and we're going to talk about customer follow-ups. So Sandra, do you want to share with us some of your favorite takeaways and tips that you got from follow-ups?
I think it was a huge reminder of the little things that we don't, or that I haven't been doing, and that's following up with customers, basically purchasing and not following them up because they're regulars. You know, they purchase, and so it really taught me a lot. It really taught me a lot to follow up and to keep following up, and ones that haven't come back. Yeah, and I was quite slack at it, so I really learned a lot with that follow-up, to follow up just basic texting, emails, you know, and those little messages and little thank yous that I really only did to big customers and not my little customers. So I learned heaps on follow-up, which was a real big eye-opener for me because I don't do it often enough. So I really love that about follow-up, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to share about customer follow-up? I know for me, when I was sitting in Auckland, and I think they mentioned this in Brisbane as well, was they shared that really simple tip of 2, 2, and 2. So make sure that you follow up your customers after a party, 2 days after the party, or you could do that after you deliver as well. 2 days after you deliver an order, a party order, you know, make sure that you follow up the customer. Then 2 weeks later, make sure that you follow up. And then, like Sandra said, it can be a text message, as simple as that. It doesn't have to be a phone call. Phone calls are very effective, and so, you know, it does take a little bit of practice to make sure that you have the confidence that you need to do it, but try them. You never know. Maybe you want to do like 5 phone calls and 5 text messages. Whatever you have to do to make sure that you're building up and getting outside of your comfort zone. You don't have to do it straight away, but slowly is always good. And so 2 weeks after they have their order, so you can just check in and say, hey, just checking in to see what you think of your fragrances, your warmers, how's it all going? And then 2 months after that, you need to follow up again and see if they're ready for top-up. So that was one of the follow-up tips that I got out of the takeaways. Anyone else want to share anything before I go to the next one?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. So then the next subject was getting new customers. Wana, did you have anything to share about getting new customers? What did you guys talk about down in Sydney?
Yep, very much. I mean, I'll just reflect back on the 2, 2, and 2. That was a really great idea that was shared, and you know, I basically think that a lot of us need to follow through on the 2, 2, and 2. Getting new customers. I was lightly touched on that, but yeah, it's pretty much trying to network as with many people as you can along the way. For example, your sampling and stuff like that, and just being prepared to share your Scentsy products with whomever. But not only just getting new customers, also to touch on your existing customers as well, and to ensure that you retain them and make sure that they become your VIPs. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep, that's awesome. Yeah, Andrew.
No, I'm good.
Well, hopefully Andrew's going to contribute throughout the night. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to put Andrew on the spot. He read this.
I didn't hear anything before our talk. I was too nervous to move for our talk. After that,
Okay, well, I'm going to put Andrew on the spot, and this is one of the things that they talked about again in Auckland. So one of the things they talked about was to constantly work on your list of 100, and that's something, and it comes down to preparation. So you need to prepare and have lists in place so that you know who you are going to talk to about selling, booking a party, doing a one-on-one, or maybe even recruiting. And so if you don't have a plan in place, it's really hard to kind of know what it is that you're going to do when you wake up the next day. But if you have that in place, you know exactly where you're going and who you're going to talk to. And Andrew read a book recently about lists of 100, but they talked about having a list of 500, which is quite a big stretch. So when you think of a list of 100, it's quite doable compared to 500. Do you want to share anything, Andrew?
just that sometimes you think 100 is a lot of people, and you'd be surprised how easy it is to make that list. And you probably come in contact, even if you think you don't, with 10, 15, 20 people a day anyway. So getting a list of 100 people to contact isn't as big a deal as what you think. If you start doing it, you realise that it'll just keep coming. You'll get way over 100. You'll get to 100 easily.
Yeah, I agree. And so when we say a list of 100, it doesn't necessarily have to be best friends. We all know we don't have 100 best friends, but it's simple things like the lady at the cash register that says me at the IGA every week and she knows my name because I go in and get milk, or the lady that I go and buy bakery treats for my children when I'm running late to school. Like, it's just those people that you do come in contact every day, that you have micro relationships with, that you can ultimately get to the point where you give them, you know, a catalog or a sample, something really little, you know, and it can be something as simple as, hey, you do such a great job with your customer service. Here's a sample. You know, have a go. This is just a little thank you for always being, you know, great to me and my family when we come in, or something simple. It's just a little thank you. And so another thing that was really important that I noticed, and they did it at Brisbane, was they got everyone to stand up, and the person that talked about about getting new customers talked about if we were Scentsy Naked or not. So Scentsy Naked, if you've never heard of it, is whether or not we have Scentsy products or marketing material on us. And so it's really important to make sure that, like, I make it a goal to hand out 5 flyers that have samples on them each day. So make those simple little goals, because it's all about doing something small consistently each day to get successful results in the end. So that was getting new customers. The next subject was product categories. So this might be really good for Wana to help to share something as well, because I know each location did quite different takes on this actual subject.
The product category is was getting to know. For me, I think it was just getting to know your products more than anything. I'm not too sure if you guys know that when we received a list, I think they were the cards that we got at the reunion, and on the back of the cards, like for example the diffusers, it actually tells you about how the diffuser works, and for example the warmers and the cleaning products and stuff like that. You can actually buy them in the family store, and it's just a list of everything that we have when it comes to dealing with our products. So I suppose my question would be is in how many categories do we have that Scentsy has in our catalogue? So how many do we have? 5, 6 or 7? Nice thing for you guys to do is just write a list down just in the questions on the event page and list all the categories that we have available and then get to know them.
Yeah, awesome. I think Sandra had the cards. Did you have the cards? Do you want to wave them,
Oh,
Sandra, and put it on the screen? Yeah.
absolutely, yep, those are them. And on the back of it, it tells you how the Scentsy counter clean, how it works, what it does for you, and all that sort of stuff. So you're just getting to know the categories that we have available and learning about the products itself.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you're right. It is all about knowing what it is that we're selling, and the best way to really know is for us to put products to the test and to try them ourselves. We should be our best customers and our biggest fans anyway. So that's a great way to gain knowledge in that part of product category. Anybody else?
Yeah. One of the things that I enjoyed about the presentation on product categories in Brisbane was Sheree Reeve. She was talking about how sometimes people can get overwhelmed with just how many categories and how big the range is, and so the idea is to get to know your hosts or your customers so that you can keep your the exposure, I guess, to the product more targeted and have it be more specific to the customer's needs rather than trying to show them everything that might not be applicable to them.
Yeah, and that was a really good one. I was actually going to share that. So good job, Andrew. But yeah, she shared how she went to a party once and she thought they were an older generation of women, and so she thought she would focus all on the children's range because she thought they'd all have grandchildren. And so she spent this whole party presentation talking about buddy clips and buddies and scrubby buddies. And at the end, she didn't do well in sales because none of them had grandchildren. So it really is important to know your hostess, and that comes in your hostess coaching. Make sure that you ask them what kind of friends are coming, or what do you think your friends are going to like, because they know their guests that are coming along, and so say what do you think? Would they like the warmers? Would they like the laundry products? And focus on those. I think she mentioned picking 3 product categories and focusing on those. So thank you. Okay. The next subject was recruiting. So I know Sandra did a presentation on this, so if you wanted to give us a wrap-up of your own talk, that would be wonderful.
Where do I start? It was really nerve-wracking. Can I start there? On our way to the world tour, I wanted to jump off in the M1 and run home. So you wouldn't have thought that because we had so much fun. The Scentsy consultants, we met through it all, and I think the main thing that I really took from that was mainly sharing Scentsy. And a lot of people were looking at steps and asking me, how do you do it? And it was, from me, it's people fall in love with you, and basically whatever you've got and whatever you're doing, they love as well. But I did learn a lot from other consultants that are the reverse, and they push Scentsy and they love Scentsy that much that Scentsy speaks for them. So it's really in your comfort zone and then reaching out of your comfort zones. But for me, it was all about keeping it positive and keeping it, because we have our hard times, we have our low sales, and it was about me working through all that and keeping it positive for people that Scentsy basically should be in every house. That's the mind thought there, is to everyone should have Scentsy. And so my recruiting was around looking at every customer as a potential, looking at every person you interacted as a potential. A lot of people just pinpoint or just ask who they think could possibly be a recruit. I really helped a lot of ladies saying, look, your neighbour could be a recruit, you know, even though you think she's not interested. So it was getting people through that and explaining that every little contact you come into with another human species, they're a recruit. And they were like, wow, really? So, yeah, and I really loved it. I absolutely, from the nerves to sharing and meeting so many Scentsy consultants was amazing. You can see why a lot of people get quite addicted to presentation on stages and stuff. That was amazing. You know, I've never been on stage that big, and it's amazing energy, and I recommend every consultant to give it a go and to share their stories. It was a really good feeling after the nerves. After the nerves, Andrew and Sydney, after the nerves. It was an amazing experience to help and to share so many. Loved it.
Oh, thank you. Going off of what you said too, I remember in Auckland, the person who talked about recruiting there, she said exactly the same thing as you. That when before she before she did Scentsy, it was just like, oh, there's a person, or you know, there's a mum, there's a daughter, whatever. But now she like walks through like airports and shops, and she goes recruit, 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 recruit. So same kind of concept of what you were talking about. Like that's what she's constantly doing. And for those that are building a business and want to grow their business that way, it really is the way to go. You know, to always think about your hostess and flip to them, and you know, they're your next best person or potential, because they obviously love the products enough to host a party. And I really like the whole buy, host, and join plan. I've always and this is what you were saying, Sandra, was we all do our recruiting differently and what makes us feel more comfortable. And so for me, what I love is I like to have my customer fall in love with the products. The concept of someone selling something that they don't really know, to me, doesn't kind of click. So that's why I like them to fall in love with the product, so much so that they want to book a party, see how easy and simple it is, because I try and keep it simplified and very doable and very copy-paste, to the fact that they want to do it too, and then they buy, host, and join. And so that's the kind of plan that I like to follow when it comes to recruiting. Anybody else want to share anything? Okay, so next was personal branding. I know Wino talked about this, so if you want to give us a little wrap-up of personal branding, please.
Personal branding, I loved it. I was nervous, literally nervous, shaking in my boots, but when I had the opportunity to go up, I actually had a little bit of a speech to share. But then I found that I didn't actually reflect on what I had written down. It just naturally flowed. When I look at it now, what I shared at the Sydney was about branding yourself, but not just like physically branding yourself within our Scentsy labels or anything. It was about branding yourself as being unique, and just being that Scentsy consultant that is, you know, that stands out more than anything. What I emphasize on is about you trying to find what makes you different from the Scentsy consultant that sat beside you, or the Scentsy consultant that lived around the corner. So we all know that all the products, we sell them at the same price. No one can get it any cheaper than anybody else. So we sell it because that's what the catalogue says. So then it was about trying to be that person or that unique Scentsy consultant that stood out like a sore thumb. More or less, why do you want, or why should people join your team? Why should people buy Scentsy from you? So for me, I just emphasized on you being different and finding your uniqueness about yourself. And using the different avenues that we have on social media. Yes, we have such a variety of, like for example, Facebook, YouTube, but are we using them, you know, in a way that people join people? We're just so fortunate enough that we have such an amazing product, that everybody will fall in love. But at the end of the day, why should they join you? So, you know, personal branding was huge for me. I've been a full-time working mum as well. I love personal branding, and I'm trying to brand myself in a way that I'm drawing people towards me. And when I know physically I don't have as much time to go out there and make physical contact because I'm always working all the time. So I emphasised on quite a lot of things, but basically it was about branding yourself. What kind of person are you? How are your customers or your potential customers or your potential recruits? How are they going to interact with you? So when it comes to sharing on Facebook, it's about sharing something about you, about your family. Your family is part of your social branding. And what you do personally, are you uplifting, are you motivating, are you inspiring people to be amazing? That's all part of personal branding. So I sort of went down that line. More so the fact that, once again, being a full-time working mum, it's there are challenges that we have where we can't do our Scentsy all the time, but we're taking our Scentsy with us on our everyday activities that we tend to do out there. So hopefully that was hopefully that was a decent explanation.
That's awesome. Thank you. And we pretty much were on the same page as that, weren't we, Andrew? You're on mute.
My bad. Okay, I'm back. The biggest thing is just to be authentic, because that's one of the Scentsy core values, is that, as Wina said, you know, people buy from people. If you be yourself, you don't have to be us, you don't have to be Sandra, you don't have to be Wina, you don't have to be anyone else, you have to just be you. And as you do that, people will be drawn to you, people will love you for you, and they'll buy from you, they'll love to work with you, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, so the next subject was bookings. Anyone want to share anything?
Yeah, I will. In Sydney, we were fortunate enough to have Faith Pucky. She shared some insights about bookings. When she wrote her speech, she said it was actually about making bookings, but then she realised that she needed to have focus on new recruits that haven't yet booked a party, and how to help them get themselves out there and go about and, like, you know, finding potential customers or potential hostess and stuff like that. I wrote down some notes. She said that, you know, when you're new to Scentsy, and I think we all, doesn't matter where we are on our journey, this is something that we all may need to look at. When we struggle and it gets really hard and we don't have any party bookings, I think we need to start thinking like that essential consultant when we first started and we were trying to achieve certified, and how amazing that was, and what did we do to get ourselves out there. So we'll basically go back to the basics. Faith Pucky shared that open houses with you know, real estate and stuff like that. That was another good avenue to look at into, like, you know, approaching your real estate agent and saying, hey, I'm a Scentsy consultant. Would you be, you know, wanting to have a demo warmer in your open home when people came in and viewed your home and stuff like that? I actually thought that was a great idea, and to the point of leaving our catalogues, like, for example, our catalogues that for the summer and spring, we still got spare catalogues left over when we kick over to autumn, winter. Leave them everywhere, as long as you leave your details and your information on your catalogue. Leave them at the doctors, leave them, you know, at supermarket trolleys or wherever you go, like me, in public toilets and stuff like that. Leave your information out there with your, you know, your catalogues or your product sheets and stuff like that. hang posters up on local notice boards, looking for hosts and stuff like that. All it is just trying to use or utilize as many different avenues that you can, and trying to get yourself a party booking. I think sometimes we get a little bit too complacent and that we just rely on only on the short vision. For example, like we rely on Facebook just a lot to try and get hostess and stuff like that. But we all need to start thinking like we're essential consultants trying to achieve certified all the time. And because the eagerness that we had in that, it helped us gain our first party booking and stuff like that. So, those are just a few things that Faith Paki shared with us. For some reason, she caught my eye. Her presentation was really, really well, and she related with a lot of the people there and stuff like that. So it was good thinking. Just get back to basics and try again.
I really love how you said about, or how she shared about getting back to basics, because I think as we, develop into our Scentsy journey and we get further in, we forget that that's all we really have to do to keep our businesses going. Like, I mean, how did we originally get to where we are? Well, we have to go back to what we were doing. It is just, I remember saying to Andrew when I became certified, if I can just do that every month, and it really is about going back to the basics and having that childlike sense of wonder and that excitement again as you pick up the phone. Like, I know that as I speak to a lot of consultants in our team about how they're getting launched, a lot of them haven't picked up the phone and called their best friends. A lot of them might have spammed them on like through email and text, but picking up the phone and asking your best friend or some close friends, even sometimes acquaintances, for a favor, you'd be amazed at who would help you. Sometimes you might be a little bit surprised and be like, oh, that person didn't help me, I thought they would. But that's okay. They'll come around the track. Like, I know that I have a family member that didn't purchase off me for, I think was it 12 months or 18 months, Andrew? I can't remember. But now
Okay.
pardon?
It's all right, go.
It was a long time anyway. But now they purchase off me all the time. So it's just a matter of, they'll come around, they always do, but pick up that phone and ask for help and ask for favors. And, our business and Scentsy gives such great hostess rewards that they're going to get something in return for helping you out. So, and you're gonna treat them like, hostess royalty anyway, because they're doing you a favor. So pick up the phone, get back to basics, and book those parties. Okay, so bookings. Okay, so the last bit was social media. So I know Sandra is really working lately on social media. I know that we've had a little bit of a chat the last couple of days. You've been YouTubing a few things and how to use certain platforms.
I think the most that I got off World Tour regarding to the social media aspect was the big word potential. And I think when you've exhausted your areas of friends and family, or if you live in small townships with low populations, or whatever the reason, social media becomes quite attractive. And the potential was 500 million or something, rather the figures. I wasn't really, it was just millions. So that sort of like is an eye catcher when you're looking at going from a hobby in your business to a business. Like two of my kidnappers are really saying, wow, they live on Facebook, they live on social media, but they're just kidnappers and they just love the product. So it's just been really looking and educating myself, and that was really from one of our top leaders in America, Eddie Ann, who has just said, just give it a go. You just get in there and just chuck it in there and have a go. There's no right or wrong. And so feeling and hearing that where, you just throw yourself in. So a lot of mistakes, but a lot of fun laughs at the same time. And, and that's all it is with social media. I honestly thought you had to be quite an IT guru, and you do, and it does help. But at my age with grandchildren, I only utilize social media for keeping contact. with family, Facebook, you know. So it's come a long way from me, and now I'm pretty much on everything. And networking, which people just, I always looked at a good gossip and catch up, but really I'm networking between all these platforms, you know, and they're following me. And I'm like, wow, I did that from just giving it a go. So I really got that from social media. You don't have to really know the ins and outs. It helps, but, you know, at the end of the day, just give it a go and, yeah, have fun with it. That's what I love about it, really.
And I agree with you about that giving it a go. Like I know that in our Scentsy family team and teaming it up, a lot of people are too scared to give Facebook parties a go. You're right. There's no right or wrong, and if you make a mistake, so what? I mean, delete it. Like
Yeah.
it's not a big deal. Like or let it, bump down the line. It's totally fine. If you give it a go and you do it on your friends and it's a flop, that's okay. The main thing is that you learn from it and that you improve. Andrew, I know we've had a bit of conversations about social media. Like, I know we talked about last night about like actually communicating with people rather than. I'll let you go. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Thanks, Madeleine. One of the things that we talked about, so one of the things that we've tried to do is be more active on Facebook together a little bit. And so we've noticed an increase in interaction amongst family and friends on Facebook, but it's important to not just get likes on your photos or on your things, but to actually start interacting with people and responding to comments and responding to what's happening on your pictures and things that you are sharing. Another thing that we've talked about a lot that came, sorry, what?
Oh, but share how you were talking to me about yesterday, how you said, um, as a person, you kind of, if you go to, you said,
Oh, yeah, I remember. So as a person, if you're commenting or liking on someone's photo, you're kind of searching for a response to that comment. I know that I do. If I comment on someone's thing, I want them to say, "Oh yeah, that was great," or you're almost starting the conversation just by commenting on the photo. So you're looking for their response. I know that I'm guilty of not responding, and I'm just counting likes or counting comments and saying, "Oh, I'm getting good now," and then not kind of interacting and following up with the rest of the conversation.
Because in the end, it really is relationship building, and that's what our business is all about. And so that can happen on a much larger scale on social media compared to what we can do face to face. And I know for me, as a young mum, I like to think I'm a young mum, but I don't really have a lot of time to go out during the day to socialize, even though Andrew thinks that's what I do all day. But I, the amount of time that, when my kids go to bed at 6 o'clock, or when they do go to bed at 6 o'clock, I have, I could potentially put 6 hours of work in up until midnight if I really wanted to. Not that I do, because Netflix gets in the way sometimes. But I can communicate and socialize and build relationships for 6 whole hours if I really wanted to with people not only in Australia but all around the world. And so not only can I learn great tips and tricks from people like EDN that's in the US, but I can also recruit and build my business in all types of regions and countries that Scentsy's built in. And so the only way that that's going to happen for me that doesn't really know much people in, let's say, America and Canada is it's really only going to happen for me if I build that on social media. And really that's where a lot of people are these days anyway. So important to try and jump on there. Anybody else want to say anything before we wrap up the night?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you go, one, go.
Okay. I just had a coffee moment. Not moment. I had a coffee catch up with one of the girls that I'm supporting on our team. She says that she's struggling in some areas and in the recruiting or trying to get sales and all that sort of stuff. I said to her there was a stage in my life where I needed a change, and it just so happened that Charlotte had shared the opportunity with me at that point in time. And so my point is it doesn't matter how many times you're out there sharing your Scentsy with copious amounts of people, whether you're posting or whether you're doing mailbox drops in, or anything that you're trying to do, just don't stop trying, because you may come across somebody that is at their point of time in their life where they want to change or where they want to earn extra income and stuff like that. Charlotte had no idea that I was looking for a change, and it just so happened that when she shared the opportunity with me, I thinking, well, yeah, I'll give it a go. So I just want you to know that anybody or everybody would decide to join Scentsy or buy Scentsy, because at that point of time that you've made contact with them, it may have interest them. So not everybody's on the same wavelength, but eventually the more you keep sharing, the more you keep connecting, the more you keep networking with somebody, you possibly will find that potential recruit or that potential customer to join you. So never stop trying and just keep going. Absolutely, just keep going. Don't give up on yourself.
Yeah, totally. And another thing to add on to what you just said there, Wana, is to actually have patience too. I mean, for instance, I am working, I've had this hostess that I met, and anyway, she has done 2 parties for me in the last maybe 6 months. She's been a customer of mine for 12 months, and she would honestly be the best of it. She's already selling and sharing Scentsy for me, and I was like, really, the only thing you're missing out on is the commission. You're really just building my business for me. And she finally messaged me this afternoon to say that she's joining on Thursday. But if I had given up on her, yeah, woohoo! If I had given up on her way back when she said no to me, I wouldn't be celebrating right now. So it really does take patience, and seeds do take time to grow as well. And so that's another thing to keep in mind, and that doesn't just go with recruits, that also goes with bookings and also with sales as well. What did you need to share, Andrew?
Just on this, thank you. Just on the social media aspect of it, one of the biggest things that I liked that came from that presentation was to not sell Scentsy but share it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time we're all on Facebook. Well, I know Cindy is, and I do a fair bit too, but just scrolling through our news feeds or mucking around on Facebook. But if we can somehow find a way to include Scentsy in the things that we're sharing, and sharing the way that it is benefiting our lives in whatever way that is, whether it's just that your house smells great or your kitchen's easy to clean or whatever it is, if it's a natural part of what you're doing in your life, people will see that and be drawn to it, rather than shoving it in their face with stock photos from resources tab.
Yeah. Practical ways to use products. People really want that whole people. So, well, before we go, I want you guys to each give us a quick tip of what you guys, how everyone can implement what we've shared tonight and what they take away from World Tour. One easy tip on how to incorporate that into your business and life.
Who's going first? What I take away is always introduce yourself to all your Scentsy sisters out there at events, because there were some Scentsy sisters on their own, and it was so amazing to wrap these Scentsy sisters. I know we're all doing the same business, but to have that sisterhood is priceless. So my little tip there is at every event, anywhere you go, don't ever think is competition. Always wrap them up and always look at it as a strong sisterhood and brotherhood, but also sharing that sense of spirit, definitely.
Yep. Awesome. Be the right.
Okay, for myself, my tip is your why. And, you know, it's so important to know your why, to let your why be so passionate that, you know, it's your driving force. You know, your why is your everything in your Scentsy journey. There will come a point of time when you're going to be struggling and you feel like you're going to give up. But you always got to reflect back on your why. Why did you join the Scentsy family? Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing? You envision that. Once you've got that vision of why you've joined the Scentsy family, your motivation will just come naturally. You will naturally wake up in the morning and you will say to yourself, that's why I joined the Scentsy family, because I'm going to achieve this. I am going to build that. So it's really important to know your why and to reflect on what Sandra says. We're all Scentsy sisters and brothers. It doesn't matter what team we're in, we've got to embrace everybody that's out there, because that's your Scentsy spirit. And it's something that each one of us are all got to have, is that Scentsy spirit. Be authentic, be genuine. Generosity can go a long way in many things. And know your Scentsy core values.
Awesome. Andrew, do you want to say anything? Let me wrap it up for us.
Sorry, what?
Do you want to say anything, a tip or trick, or do you want me to wrap it up for us?
I think, of course I can do it. So, my biggest tip is basically we've covered a lot of things tonight and a lot of things at World Tour, and that can seem sometimes overwhelming, that there's too much to do, or where do I even start with all of that? But just pick something and work each day at being a little better at one thing, or at a couple of things if you're brave, but pick something and just get better at it.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. And I agree. Just do something. Pick something, even if it is one thing, and you want to do that one thing properly. Just do it. And there's so many people within our team. We've got these awesome people here that's joined us tonight that are willing to help and share and help you all with your businesses. So make sure that you ask questions, reach out, and you really, Andrew and I are available to be PM'd if you have any specific things with your business that you're struggling with at the moment. Just PM us. We're so happy to help, and we will do our best to help you the best way we can. So, peace out and party hard, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.